The moment after I died, my soul floated to Samantha Jones's wedding. Samantha was holding her mother's hand in the dressing room. Her eyes were all red. Mother, is Celine really not going to come? Do you think she still hates me for being together with Jensen? My mother, Susan, wiped away her tears with a distressed look. How could it be? It's obvious she was narrow-minded. My father, Charles, who always kept a serious face in front of me, put down his pride and comforted Samantha softly. Don't cry, my dear. It's your big day today, it's not worth crying for her. My brother, Derek, spoke softly. You didn't steal Jensen from her. She was the one who couldn't keep a man's heart. Everyone surrounded Samantha, comforting her softly. However, their expressions changed once they left the dressing room. I've raised this ungrateful person for more than a decade, but it's all in vain. How can she just run away from home? Susan gritted her teeth as Derek agreed, saying, That's right. I called her, but she didn't say a word, acting like a dead person. You called her too? Susan frowned. They found out that all of them gave me a call before the wedding. Susan sneered. She thinks she's important. If it weren't for Samantha's wedding, who'd want to call her? Jensen Hope was my boyfriend 3 years ago. 3 years later, he was about to marry Samantha. There were so many rumors spreading about that. The reason they wanted me to attend Samantha's wedding was just to prove that Samantha did not steal my boyfriend and to save her reputation. Charles looked at Susan and Derek, who were standing around him. He said loudly, None of you are allowed to answer the phone if she calls back later. I want to see what she's capable of doing. None of my family members cared to think about why I did not answer their call. All of them thought I was at fault. However, I was no longer able to make a phone call anymore. I was already dead. Just as they were busy calling me one after another, Samantha's admirer pressed the answer button on my phone and put it next to my ear. Susan said angrily, You're so ungrateful. I shouldn't have brought you back. Charles scolded me harshly, If you don't come to Samantha's wedding, don't bother coming back anymore. Derek even cursed at me, Let me tell you, if you don't come to the wedding today, you will rot in hell. I struggled desperately when I heard their voices. I wished to beg them to save me. However, my mouth was taped. My wound was still bleeding rapidly. Due to my excessive blood loss, I had lost the ability to shout for help. However, I could still hear their voices. They were impatient. Speak up. Are you dead? 3 consecutive calls, 3 were 3 chances, yet no one came to my rescue. I could clearly feel the murderer cutting into my skin with a knife and whispering in my ear. It's Samantha's wedding today. It's your blessing to be able to use your blood to commemorate her. After cutting off my limbs bit by bit with a knife, he cut open my stomach. Blood flowed all over the floor. I was dead, completely dead. The wedding went on. Samantha, who was wearing delicate makeup, clung to Charles's arm as they walked slowly toward Jensen. Charles, who had always been serious, was in tears at that time. I won't let you off easily if you were to treat Samantha badly in the future. Jensen solemnly took Samantha's hand from him. I will take good care of her. I stood in the center of the stage, watching everything that happened in front of me without any emotion. Everyone present applauded loudly. I saw someone wiping tears. They're a match made in heaven, a talented man and a beautiful woman. The person next to him sneered. Everyone knows that there are 2 children in the family, a real daughter and a fake one. The fake daughter stole the real daughter's boyfriend, so the real daughter didn't come to the wedding today. No way. The man was surprised and was about to ask for details. However, he was stopped by Derek, who was standing next to him. I won't allow you to slander my sister. Derek was really protective. He was desperately protecting Samantha. He was even willing to smear my reputation while doing that. It's obvious that Celine was the one who was jealous of Samantha. She even replaced Samantha's heart disease medicine with vitamins. Who'd accept such a vicious person? The 2 people looked at each other and wanted to say something. However, Susan turned and looked at them. She smiled and said threateningly, You too, do you know spreading rumors is an illegal act? They hated me for making Samantha's wedding imperfect. As such, Susan started calling me repeatedly after the wedding. She cursed, Celine, if you dare to come back, I will beat you to death. Still, no one answered the call. Samantha held Susan's hand in distress. Mother, you don't have to call her. Celine must still be angry with me. Susan hugged Samantha when she saw how pitiful she looked. My poor Samantha, you had to endure such injustice. I noticed Samantha's lips raised into a small smirk as she hugged Susan. This was her, the real her. She would appear to be the weaker party, blaming all the mistakes on me. I still remember when I was first brought back to the family, they did not hate me so much. Susan would hold my hand, look at me with love and care, and ask me if I was hungry and if I wanted any food. Charles, who was beside Susan, spoke with tears, "This is your home from now on." Derek would also put his arm around my shoulders and say that we would be the siblings in the world from that day onward. At the time, Samantha took out a small gift she made by herself, and smiled at me. "Celine, this is a small gift I made. I hope you like it." I took the gift, but the gift fell to the ground and shattered into pieces. "Celine, do you hate me that much?" Susan's facial expression changed as she stared at me. She shielded Samantha behind her. "Celine, what are you doing?" I shook my head innocently. I did not even touch the gift. Samantha frowned and held her chest. "Oh dear God, Samantha is having a heart attack." Derek quickly took the medicine, Charles took the keys to the car, and Susan helped her into the car. I was left alone at home. No one cared about me. 3 days after Samantha got married, she had a heart attack again. She received a package with my bracelet in it, with blood on it. Susan looked enraged. So Celine is threatening Samantha now. Why would she send something like this to her? I smiled bitterly. That bracelet was indeed mine, and the blood on it was mine too. However, I did not send the package. It was in fact sent by Samantha's admirer, the person who killed me. He killed me for Samantha. Would it not be a waste of his effort if Samantha did not know that he killed me? As such, he sent her a gift. However, he never expected that his gift for Samantha would be considered a threat by Susan. Samantha was so terrified that she lay in Jensen's arms with a haggard face as she cried, "I didn't expect Celine to hate me so much. Mother, I'm not going to die, am I?" "What nonsense are you talking about?" Susan jumped up and covered Samantha's mouth. "You're my baby daughter. No one will want you to die." Looking at how affectionate Susan looked, I remembered the first time we met. The day Samantha was brought back from the hospital and lay in the bedroom, she said the same thing. "Mother, am I going to die?" "How could that be? Mother and father will definitely find ways to cure you." She bit her lips, showing only a small part of her pale face. "Celine is back, and I'm not your biological child. How will you still care for my sickness in the future?" Susan's expression changed immediately. "Who told you that?" Samantha kept her silence. The family had been fine. It was after my return that Samantha started to worry. Who else would have said something like that? In Susan's point of view, it must have been me. That night, Susan rushed into my room and pulled me out of bed. "Let me tell you, bringing you back to the family doesn't mean anything. Samantha is my daughter. If you say anything to her again in the future, don't blame me for being rude to you." She was furious. She swept everything they had carefully arranged for me to the ground. Books were scattered, cups were broken, and clothes were thrown away. After that night, no one in the family was nice to me. Jensen brought Samantha back to the room. Everyone in the living room looked gloomy. "Celine has gone too far. She's threatened Samantha even though she knows her heart is frail." As he said that, Derek picked up the phone. The call finally connected. "Celine, do you want to die? How dare you threaten Samantha? Does Samantha like the gift?" They were surprised when they heard a man's voice replying to them instead. I trembled when I heard the voice. The voice sounded too familiar to me. I recalled how he, as he was chopping off my limbs with a knife, said, "I think Samantha will like my gift very much." "Who are you? Where is Celine? Tell her to answer my call." She's dead." The man's tone was icy cold. I, in my spirit form, stared at Derek nervously. I was hoping that he would realize that something not right had happened. For a moment, Derek looked nervous. It did not last long until he laughed. You're in cahoots with Celine, right? You act like you've killed her, and she acts like she's dead. It doesn't work, I'll tell you that. Tell Celine that if she doesn't come back now, don't even think about coming back. My parents, upon hearing all this, responded, how despicable is she, using all these dirty tricks to gain attention over Samantha. A trace of bitterness rose in my heart when I watched my family continue to insult me. Mother, father, I am dead. This isn't a lie. Derek looked really angry after he put down his phone as he gruffly said, Father, I'll send someone to go look for her and teach her a lesson. I'll teach her who's boss. Charles agreed as he waved his hand. Susan leaned toward Charles. Dear, was it a mistake for her to bring her back in the first place? Charles sighed helplessly and patted Susan's shoulder. How could we have known when we brought her in back then? This isn't our fault. So the fault falls on me? That's right. In this family, everything is my fault. It was on one fateful day Samantha tricked me into going down to the dark basement. I kept shouting at the top of my lungs, hoping someone could hear me. I shouted and shouted, but no one heard me. I eventually learned that it was Samantha's birthday, and the whole family went out to celebrate her birthday. When they finally remembered me, I was so hungry that my vision was blurry. I could not see my way clearly, so I fell and abruptly landed on Samantha. Samantha screamed, and I was pushed hard onto the ground. My head was spinning. Susan pointed at my nose and scolded me for being ungrateful. If it was not for Samantha, no one would have remembered me and came to get me. Charles brought Samantha away quickly. Derek took the opportunity to kick me hard twice in the chaotic situation. No one knew Samantha had tricked me. No one remembered that day was my birthday too. Over the next 2 weeks, more and more items were sent to Samantha. She was so horrified that she dared not step out of the house. Derek, who sent someone to look for me, grew anxious. He returned home feeling exhausted, but he did not bear any news about me. Father, I suspect Celine is serious this time. He stood in front of Charles and talked about the results of his findings over the past few days. The dozens of private detectives he hired could not find any news about me. I seemed to have disappeared out of thin air. There were not even any transactions on my bank cards. Charles frowned. I was looking forward to them finally realizing something was wrong. However, Charles slammed on the table. It seems she's planned this long ago. She truly wanted to kill Samantha. If that is the case, I'll take Samantha away from here. We'll see if Celine takes any further action. Derek's eyebrows squeezed tightly. At that moment, they believed that Samantha's safety was of the utmost importance. Samantha went to hide in another house as a temporary measure. Out of the blue, Derek received news about me. The police had already set up a cordon when he brought my parents to the house where I was tortured and killed. A strong smell of blood could be smelled even from a far distance. What's going on? My parents wanted to question me but were stopped. Derek stopped my parents and called my cell phone. Celine, where have you been? Get out here. The line was silent for a long time. I am the director of the criminal investigation team of Sun City. What's your relationship with the owner of the phone? Derek was stunned. The director of the criminal investigation team? Susan stumbled a few steps backward. Did Celine